When Brooklyn was born, she was born with spina bifida, and so what that is in utero, the spine doesn't zip up all the way, doesn't close up all the way, and so there's a hole in her back. We got flown down to Salt Lake and had to stay down there for a couple months before and after her birth. And so down in Salt Lake, when we were down there, there was a park called Liberty Park, and it was our favorite park. We were staying pretty close to it, and so we spent a lot of time there. And at Liberty Park, they had an accessible playground that was built for the, I think it was the 2002 Special Olympics, built by a Rotary Club down there. And so we always thought, you know, this is such a cool idea. We need to bring something like this to Pocatello. And it was probably when Brooklyn was 2.5 or 3 years old, I think it was. Yeah, she was 3. She was playing at the playground and she got injured at a playground here locally, and my wife finally said, you know, that's enough. I'm sick of trying to carry her in and out of things, and we need to bring that playground here. Right after Brooklyn got injured at the park, she flipped out of a swing and hit her head and got a concussion and started throwing up, and so my wife was talking with me about it and said, hey, we need to do this, and I kind of laughed and said, yeah, right, type of a thing, but okay, I'll try. And probably a couple days later, my wife was reading Reader's Digest, and there was an article in there about a small community in Port Washington, Wisconsin, and they just finished building an accessible playground there. And anyway, so right after that happened, my wife read this article, and she came to me and said, hey, read this. And I read it, and I Googled the lady's name, found her cell phone number somehow, and gave her a call and said, hey, how do we do this? And she said, well, if you want to do it, it's a lot of work, but here's kind of the first steps to it. And so we did a lot of research on our own, because she said, you know, you got to find out who you want to use and what you're kind of looking for. So we did a lot of research, and then once we'd done that research and we finally knew what we wanted, we still didn't know where to go from there. And I kind of luckily contacted Valley Pride, and a great organization here in town locally, and said, hey, I got this great project. I want to come pitch the idea to you. And so, you know, I went and spoke at Valley Pride and did a presentation, and they were moved, and they said, yeah, I think we want to back you on this project. And they put me in contact with all the different civic clubs and organizations and individuals that have influence here in the community, and they put me in contact with these people, and I just started doing presentations all over the place. And at first it was more of a kind of just to teach people about it. This is what we want to do, kind of inform them about what the playground was, but also to solicit help and put together a committee. And so when all was said and done, we have a committee of people that served actively on our committee, and it's over, I think it's like 92 people long. The goal kind of changed a couple times. I mean, I'd never built an all-accessible playground before, and so when I originally came out with the goal, all I could really go off of at first was other playgrounds, what they'd done. And so I talked to a couple other places and said, hey, what did it cost you guys? So they told me a number, and we looked at what we wanted to bring here as far as the size and the scope of the playground, and we tweaked it a little bit and came up with our original budget, which was $400,000. What I didn't understand is that when I talked to these other communities, the numbers they were giving me was just strictly for materials and everything to build the playground. And so we had to tweak our budget because, you know, you kind of have to spend money to make money, even with fundraising. And so we spent quite a bit of money, but it brought in a lot more, and all that kind of went into we expensed that out. And so the playground was when all was said and done was about $550,000. Is what it cost us to build it, and we raised about $580,000 to date.
Wow.
And so, you know, the amazing thing is last January, when we were kind of kicking off the playground to the community, we've been working on it for about a year previous to that, but that was the first time that we really kind of went public with the community and had some fundraising events. At that period of time, we only had maybe $10,000 or $20,000.
It all started in February with a packed gym at Wilcox Elementary. That was the first opportunity for most of us to rally behind this project. It was evident from day one that this was something the community was ready to support. At this point, organizers had already raised $45,000 for the playground, and that number would nearly double with one event at the end of the month.
And so from that January, February to September, October, we raised over $500,000. It was crazy.
On February 26, families from throughout the area filled the Don Aslet's Museum of Clean for a fundraiser. The Pocatello Zoo participated by sending several animals to the event. This captured the attention of the kids in attendance, but the loudest section of the museum was on the main floor where there were inflatable toys, cotton candy, cookies, and hot dogs. Jonny Fisher was blown away by the support for the winter picnic, and it was clear that this project was here to stay.
It's exciting, yeah. They just announced that we're over 70,000 already. A lot of that was just today. So yeah, the momentum is really starting to pick up. The community is starting to get behind it, and we're excited about that. Yeah.
Dorsey Hill really got the ball rolling when she pledged to not only match $10,000 from the business community, but she would also match $10,000 from individual donations. Idaho Central Credit Union agreed to match the grant, and before long, businesses throughout the eastern Idaho community were jumping on board. This brought the fundraising total to just over $114,000. KPVI was committed to the project from the very beginning, and in April, we found a new and creative way to participate. We teamed up with our friends at the Outer Limits Fun Zone to bring you a laser tag challenge like no other. Teams competed throughout the summer for laser tag bragging rights, but more importantly for a good cause.
Yeah, we want to make it fun. You know, there's lots of different fundraisers out there, and we just want to make it unique, something that the community can get something out of. So they donate $10, or they can come play laser tag for $10, and it goes, you know, same donation straight to the playground.
As the support continued to grow, it was clear that the message was starting to sink in. Volunteers young and old continued to do everything possible to get us to where we are at today. And that includes little Charlie Harris, who at the age of 3 found a way to participate in the fundraising efforts.
One day we were telling her how Brooklyn's Playground had won a bunch of grants, and she decided that she wanted to give some money, and one of the shows that she watches does a lemonade stand to raise money.
And from that simple idea, Charlie's Lemonade and Cupcake Stand was born, but the family didn't expect much.
About $10. My husband kept telling me to make more cupcakes, and I'm like, it's only going to be our family. Nobody else is really going to show.
By the time the day was finished, Charlie had raised $557 for the project.
It was actually really amazing because people were paying $25 for one cupcake, and I don't even know if they were that great, but and some people wouldn't even take the cupcake, they just put money in. It was amazing.
We wanted to do this all community. We wanted the community to design it, we wanted the community to build it, we wanted the community to have ownership in it. But at the same time, we didn't have the experience, the talents, and to do all that. And so we teamed up with a great company called Leathers & Associates. They're out of Ithaca, New York. So what Leathers does is they allow you to completely customize the playground to whatever you want it to be, but they allow you to basically make all the decisions, build it and everything, and they just oversee it. They kind of consult with you, and then they fly out people during the build week that helps organize all the volunteers to come do it. In keeping in contact with all these other projects that were going on around the nation at the same time, we kind of would just feed off each other and give each other ideas of what to do. So the Kaboom, we just kind of stumbled upon it ourselves, and created a video, and got the community involved in voting. Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
We're the Fishers, and we've started a project in our community to build the first inclusive playground in the Pocatello-Chubbuck area. The project is called Brooklyn's Playground, and it was named after this sweet little girl right here. This is my daughter, Brooklyn Fisher. So check this out, and then sign up to help us out.
When you believe it, so let's play here at the park where the sun stays out until dark, and you're welcome. Just as you are, let your dreams take wing. You'll be a brave knight, maybe a princess.
Help us build Brooklyn's Playground so I can play with my kids.
Help us build Brooklyn's Playground so I can play with my sister. Help us build Brooklyn's Playground so we can play with our cousins. Come on, Brooklyn, let's go play. Stand you are, let your dreams Please build our playground so I can go play. Help us build Brooklyn's playground! Extra mind knows anything's possible when you believe in so. Let's play.
It was really exciting because we won $15,000, and that's money outside of the community. You know, our community isn't a rich community. We don't have a lot of money, and so anytime we could reach outside of the community to bring money in our fundraising efforts was really critical to us. Mm-hmm. But what it did also is I can really pinpoint in our project that Kaboom voting contest as kind of the catalyst to momentum in our whole project, the catalyst to awareness. You know, people just started getting excited about the project once they got online and started voting, because then they're like, oh, I'm a part of this. I helped them win that. What's next? You know, what else can I do? And from there, we went on to take part in the Pepsi project, which was the Pepsi Refresh project in July. Similar type thing. We voted. We had a strong voting base. We pulled from a lot of the same people that helped us vote with Kaboom, and we were able to win $50,000 with the Pepsi Refresh project. And you know, that speaks volumes to the community as well, because you're going up nationwide against huge cities and huge corporations and organizations that were trying to win this money, and we won. Pocatello won it, you know. So it was, and there was over, well, there's thousands of original contestants, and then they narrowed it down, I think, to 300 in our category. And so, you know, a whole month worth of voting, and we won that. We applied for a lot of grants, and I had a chairperson that kind of was overseeing all of our fundraising and our grant writing, and she has a lot of experience. She worked at a nonprofit organization in Arizona before she moved up here, so luckily, you know, she came aboard. And that's just, we had just high-powered people like that, you know, all across the board on our committees. But she helped us out a lot with the grant writing, and I have no experience in that, so it was a definite need, and it was a great learning experience for me. But we got, we applied for a lot, but the ones that we got the Home Depot grant. I think it was $1,500 or $2,000 for the Home Depot grant. The Idaho Community Grant, Idaho Community Foundation. I think that was $3,000 and $10,000. Portneuf Healthcare Foundation has kind of a grant process. We submitted to that, and we were awarded, and that's through the hospital, you know, in conjunction with the new hospital, and we got $40,000.
A generous donation finally brings the Brooklands fundraising efforts to a close. Good evening and thanks for watching tonight. I'm Todd Blackington. Brooklands Playground exceeded their fundraising goal for the All Access Playground today with a generous donation from one local foundation. Our Logan McDougall has more.
$40,000. Thursday afternoon at the Pocatello Rotary Club's meeting, the Portneuf Healthcare Foundation donated the final amount needed for Brooklands Playground. The gift puts the total amount raised to over $530,000. Norm Stevens with Portneuf Medical Center says that today is all about giving back.
Portneuf continues to be a community hospital, and one of the obligations we have is to make sure that we take care of the community and give back.
No one is probably happier with today's donation than Brooklands' father, Jonny Fisher. The Fisher family began their drive for the playground 2 years ago, and Fisher says he is a little surprised at how he feels now that the park is completed.
It feels good. It's almost bittersweet. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's been a long time, and it's been fun, so I'm going to miss it.
Fisher also says the effort of friends and neighbors here in the Gate City has never ceased to amaze him, and Pocatello residents should be proud of what they accomplished together.
It's just a testament to the community. It truly was a community project, and the community helped us, you know, make this happen. So it's you know, it's amazing to be standing here
at the end of it, seeing that we made it, we did it.
With the playground scheduled for a grand opening on October 15th at 10 a.m., Fisher says there is only one way to describe his emotions today.
Fulfilling. It's really fulfilling to bring something like this to the community, to bring something like this to Brooklyn and all the other kids that are in need of it.
Logan McDougall, KPVI News 6.
The extra money from today's donation will go towards a maintenance fund for the playground. Brooklyn still has pickets and pavers for sale, which will also be used on upkeep for the playground. It'll be dedicated and open for play a week from Saturday.
That 500,000 figure was so daunting, you know, because I'm like, wow, I mean, if this person gives 1,000, 499,000 to go. That's how we got there, though, was the $300 donations here and the $50 donations there. And I mean, if you see, we're going to be installing in April or May, our donor wall. And the donor wall has everyone $500 and above in donations, you know, and with the exception of just a couple people like the Pepsi grant, $50,000, right? And there's one or two other people that have large donations. With the exception of that, the list is just so extensive of how many people participated and donated, and we needed everybody to help out in order to make it, you know, possible. One of my favorite things that happened throughout the whole project was a campaign that we did in July. In July, we started the month at $200,000, and the city told us, because we built this at a city park, you know, OK Work Park's the city, and they had an existing playground there that they had to tear out. And I told them, hey, you got to tear that playground out at the beginning of August in order for us to prep everything and have it ready for build week. And they said, well, we're not going to do that unless we're for sure that you're going to be able to do it. We don't want a hole sitting there for how many months, you know. And I said, well, what's the determining factor? And they said, you got to be at $300,000 by August 1st. So I said, okay. And we're sitting here at $200,000. July 1st is when we talked to them about this. So we came up with a campaign called the July 300. And I don't know if you heard about it, but it was, we're looking for 300 individuals or businesses to give us $300 in the month of July to help us reach 300,000. And what made that campaign so successful is, for one, there had been so much buzz about the project leading up to it, and people wanted to help. But for the average person, you know, like us, they didn't really see a way of how they could really help the playground. You know, I don't have enough money. I can't really give money to the playground. What can I do to really put a dent in the $500,000? So most of them were thinking, I can't give $1,000. I can't give $2,000. When we came up with this campaign and said, hey, we just need you to give $300, that made it reachable, attainable to most of the people in this community. And from that campaign, we got $120,000. And so by August 1st, we were sitting at $320,000, told the city, let's do it. We had such a great PR chair. Greg Gunter from Rave Communications did all of our marketing for us, put together all of our media materials. But yeah, we used all different avenues. KPVI was awesome. They were also set on the PR committee, and they gave us a lot of free spots and free media. But we used every avenue. Yeah, we were on the radio with Paul Anderson every week talking about it. We sent out a lot of different media materials and emails. We had ads in the newspaper, you know, so we hit the print media, we hit the TV, we hit the internet, we hit all the different avenues that we could think of. Social media is amazing, you know, the amount of people that it reaches, you know, and that's why I think the Kaboom project and the Pepsi project were so popular and so successful to us, is when the amount of reach that it has. The reason we won those is because we'd start putting stuff on Facebook, and then those people would post it to their friends, and it just spread like crazy. It was daunting. I definitely can say that myself, as well as many others, doubted whether or not we could do it. You know, it's a tough economy, raising the money in this economy for something like this, even though there's a great need for it. There was a lot of doubt, and you know, it just kind of shows to the persistence of the community and the caring nature of the community that we were able to pull it off. There's lots of great help out there. You know, you just have to do your research on the grants. You know, I know the library's got a list of grants, in Boise they've got listed grants as well. But you just have to do your homework. I mean, there's no like real quick way around it. You know, you got to do your homework. You got to research out the grants and what requirements they have. You can narrow the list down, you know, to those that just pertain to what you're looking for. You can narrow it pretty quickly. And also, you value pride. You know, if not from a money standpoint, but from you know, helping you and putting you in contact with people. That's why that organization's there. So what they're looking for is people that have an idea but are willing to champion that idea. And if someone's willing to champion that idea and put in that time, they say, well, we'll bring you on board. We'll surround you with the people necessary in order to make you successful. But you have to be the driving force of that.
What's your favorite thing?
The whole thing.